You probably think your worst haircut was just a bad style, maybe uneven bangs or a wonky fade. But mine, my first haircut changed everything I knew about my body. And it opened a door to something I still don't understand. I was 6. My hair was getting wild, and my mom finally dragged me to this barber shop that looked like it hadn't changed since the 70s. The place smelled weird, like old chairs and dust. Nothing scary at first. But halfway through the cut, the barber froze. He leaned in close to my head and muttered something like, "Is that dot dot hair?" Except it was hair. Kind of, but it was growing from places it should not from follicles, but from right under my skin. That same night, we were in the A. Doctors poked and prodded and eventually told us something no one wants to hear. Those weren't hairs, they were nerve endings, growing out, exposed. I always assumed those things on my head were hairs. Why wouldn't they be? It wasn't like I'd grown another set of horns. But turns out what I thought were hairs were actually sensitive nerve endings from under my skin. Where they should have been tucked safely away under the surface, they were sprouting out like a faulty wiring system, pulsing with every heartbeat. No amount of creams or ointments helped. They just kept growing longer and thicker. I hated running my fingers through my hair because whenever I found one of those exposed nerves, it was like being jabbed with a pen. Sometimes when I ran my hand across my head, I could even feel a drop of blood. I hid in the house for years after that. All the other kids in school had to endure a haircut once or twice a year. Me? I didn't leave the house for 2 whole years until the day my parents decided I'd had enough. It was time to go back to that same barber shop. You know how some people say, "Don't judge a book by its cover"? Yeah, well, this place was the exact opposite of that. Judging by the chipped paint on the walls and the bored expressions on the customers, this place had seen better days. The barber was the same. His name was Joe, and he hadn't said a word to me last time. This time he greeted me with a nod, which I returned shyly. The second his hands touched my hair, though, he stiffened. He went quiet again. A bead of sweat rolled down his forehead as he stared intently at my hair. "Can I take a look?" he asked me suddenly. When I nodded, he leaned over and gently pinched one of my exposed nerves. His face paled. "I think you need to come see a doctor," he said quietly. I protested, but my parents insisted. They took me back to the hospital, and this time I got a proper diagnosis. I have a rare condition called congenital analgesia. Basically, it means I was born without the ability to feel pain. What caused it? Well, that's still a mystery. But it comes with one major side effect: nerve damage. Since I couldn't feel pain, my nerves started growing outwards. Anything exposed needed to be bandaged up. And there were so many exposed nerves that it was impossible to cover them all. So I started wearing this thick mesh hat everywhere I went. It was itchy and hot and made me want to claw my own eyes out. But it also made me an outcast. I mean, who was that kid with the weird hat and the white skin? No one wanted to play with me. I became a master at hiding in the house. In fact, I was so good at it that I managed to hide for 3 more years until I turned 13. You get to 13 and all of a sudden everything changes, right? Wrong for me. Starting at 13, I began having these episodes. To this day, I don't know what triggers them, but during these episodes, I become incredibly sensitive. I mean, if a mosquito lands on my arm, I collapse in pain. Any small movement causes large amounts of bleeding, and it lasts for hours. That's why I haven't left my home in almost 10 years. If I do, I don't know if I can handle the pain. And that's why I never told anyone about the real reason I'm stuck at home. They just assume I'm lazy or have social anxiety. What would they do? Lock me up in a padded room and strap me down? Whenever I have an episode now, I go straight to bed and try to sleep it off. I wear long sleeve shirts and pants to cover my nerve endings. It's easier than dealing with the pain. Sometimes I even put tape over my ears. Sounds hurt. That's why I haven't gone to school in almost 10 years. I'm homeschooled. It's easier that way. I can lie in my pajamas all day and no one has to see me. But honestly, I think I'm going crazy. I have these dreams that aren't dreams. I'll describe them and you can tell me if you've had them too. The most common one is this twisted hallway. I walk down it over and over. Sometimes there's a clock on the wall that says the same time, 3:12 p.m. Other times I find a door at the end of the hallway, but when I open it, it doesn't lead anywhere. It's just this empty space like the hallway. And then I walk back down the hallway again. Another dream I have is this house without any doors. It's like the walls are made of glass and I can see inside. There's a kitchen with food on the table. I can smell it, but I can't eat it. There's a couch, a lamp, pictures on the wall, but there aren't any doors. I mean, I can walk through the walls. I can't figure out why I'm drawn to these places. They feel so familiar, yet I've never been there. And yet somehow I already know my way around them. I can navigate their hallways and find all their secret hiding spots. Even now, lying in bed, I can feel these places in my bones. That's why I know they're not imaginary. That's why I think someone or something is using me. One night I cut myself, just a little scratch on the arm. The pain was unreal. It was like someone had jammed a red-hot poker into my bone and was twisting it. Then I started bleeding. Not a little bit, I mean, blood was everywhere. I had no idea I could bleed that much. But then the pain stopped. And the next thing I knew, I was outside. 2 blocks away, barefoot. I didn't remember walking there. And that's when I knew something was using me. Here's what I think is happening. I think that whenever I have an episode, I am possessed. I know that sounds insane, but think about it. During an episode, I become incredibly sensitive. I feel every little vibration, every little sound wave, every photon of light that touches my skin. I'm bombarded with sensory input. It's painful, that's obvious. But what if I was able to process that pain? What if I was able to channel it? Could I amplify it? Could I use it to sense things that normal humans can't? Turns out I can. See, when I'm possessed, I can sense things through my nerves that I never could before. Vibrations, magnetic fields, the gravitational pull of objects. I can even sense individual atoms moving in space. It's not pleasant, believe me, but it is real. I think I can tap into that other plane of existence, the one that's normally hidden from humans. I can see and hear and feel things that no human should be able to, and that's how I visit those places in my dreams. They aren't really dreams. I'm consciously traveling to them while I sleep, but why do I visit them? I wish I knew. Maybe I'm just some kind of freak who likes torturing himself. Maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know. But I do know this. If you ever feel a light touch on your skin with no one around, or if your dreams start taking you to places you've never been, be careful. You might have brushed past me, and my nerves, they might remember you. Thank you for watching. Do you have a creepy story you want to share? Submit it here. See you soon.